Now here's a piece of that pork shoulder. Just shreds like nothing. Man, this right here is gonna be some good eats. When we do carnitas on the holidays, we do a lot. This is actually quite a bit for me and my family, but I had to do it for this video. But when my family actually get together, I mean, it's pounds and pounds of pork. My grandfather back in the day used to have a caso. It's like a 50-pound pot that we would, be able to cook up a whole pig. Usually when this is done, it's done with a whole pig. Obviously, I don't feel like hearing a pig squeal is very horrible. So I'm gonna be buying the different pieces of the meat. We got a little bit of ribs. Obviously, I'm not gonna be doing the whole pig. You can add other pieces of meat to this, when you do it. But I'm gonna just be cooking up a couple pieces of ribs, a little bit of the rib meat. We got a little bit of leg meat. We got a little bit of pork shoulder. We got hog maws. This is called buche in Spanish. And we got some pig's feet. Now, obviously, there's many other cuts that you could use. I'm missing actually pork loin. But like I said, this is gonna be a lot of food just for me and my family. But if you don't wanna cook all of this, you can just use pork shoulder. I do carnitas all the time with just pork shoulder, and it comes out fantastic every single time. This right here is just, I want to keep this kind of like traditional, how we do for the holidays, the Michoacan style carnitas. Now, when it comes to the other ingredients, the most popular when it comes to Michoacan style, which you'll see, is manteca, lard. You're gonna need some pork lard. About 4 pounds is what I have here. This has already been used. I do not throw my lard away. I actually let it cool down just a tad bit where I can handle the disc, and then I filter it, and then I put it back in the container, obviously cleaned and everything, and then I put it in the freezer. So what we have right here is the aromatics. This is gonna add some flavor to our carnitas, because the only thing that I'm doing to the carnitas is I'm only gonna be adding in salt to it. I'm gonna just sprinkle a little bit of salt on the carnitas, on the pieces of meat, and we're gonna cook it in the lard. Now, you could do this two ways. This here with the Coke and the beer and a little bit of water and the orange juice and the lime juice and the onion and all that stuff. That's more of like a personal trend, like how they say it's done in Michoacan. But I've gone to, when I used to work in the restaurant scene, the people that do carnitas in Mexico, they actually just do an equal part of lard to an equal part of water. And the process, which later on, once I get everything going, I'll show you the reason why. But this right here is the more popular version of it. They like to add a little bit of water and salt, but I'm gonna be taking care of the salt a different way. That's just how I like to do it. It's still carnitas at the end of the day. I just like to get the salt on the pork. So we're gonna go ahead and take our pieces of pork. We're just gonna put a little bit of kosher salt, fine kosher salt on there. Just a little bit. A little goes a long way. Just a couple pinches. And that's all we're gonna be doing. So I'm gonna do that to the rest of the pork. Obviously, same thing with the ribs. The ribs, I took off the membrane in the back. You really don't have to focus so much back here. They're gonna break down real soft, so you just focus the salt on the top of the ribs. And that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these all seasoned up. The only thing I'm not gonna be seasoning is the pig feet and the buche. This I'm gonna kind of let get all the flavor of everything else. So the pig feet and buche I'm not gonna season, but all the other pieces I am. So a little tip when you're working with manteca or lard, put a little bit of water, hot water in a pan, and then put that in there for a second. It'll start melting things, but you can just pop it all out. Because if you try to scoop it out dry, then it's gonna be, stuck on the sides and everything. Okay, let's go ahead and turn on the burner. Go ahead and put the burner at about medium heat. Go ahead and get things melting and bring it up to temperature. The temperature that we're trying to get the manteca to is 350 degrees. For the first part of this cook, you're gonna be frying. And then the next part of the cook is we're gonna be braising. or pretty much like slow cooking like a stew, which I'm going to show you guys all that on how they do these type of carnitas. So let's just go ahead and get everything melted and we'll go from there. Now, if you're wondering why it has a different color than what lard looks like, I actually use this. I used it once. I don't throw my lard away. After like your third or fourth cook, well, depending on how much food you also cook also, your next couple cooks are going to be pretty tasty because it's going to be getting all those flavors from everything. I did carnitas on this probably a couple weeks ago for a family get together, and that one, you know, same thing. Everything that I put here is what I'm gonna put in this. So I try to keep them separate, especially with, like when I do chicken in the disco. That one has its own bottle or own container of lard. So this one I use specifically just for carnitas, and the other one I use just for chicken. Okay, we're starting to get a little smoke here. All right, so we want to get it up to 350 degrees. So we are over 350, so we're gonna go ahead and start adding some pork in. I'm actually gonna turn it down just a tad bit. You don't want it too high. Kind of want to just be in that 350 range. So go ahead and adjust your heat as you need to. As I can see, it is already smoking, so go ahead and turn that down. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take our pieces of meat. Go ahead and get them in there. You can do this in batches, that is fine. Like I said, when we do this, it's actually a lot of food, a lot of meat. But I'm doing a small batch, so I should be able to achieve getting it all in there. So what we're trying to do is we want to seal the pork. That's what we're doing. We're giving it a quick fry. We want to make it nice and crispy, get a nice, good exterior. You know, as you can see right here, it's starting to get some really good color. And then we're gonna braise it. So after about 6 or 7 minutes or so, we're starting to get some color on our pork. You know, just go ahead and rotate them. You wanna make sure that you know, cook all sides, get some good color on there. We're almost about there. You know, you just wanna brown everything, get a good fry on it. All right, so we'll let these go for a couple more minutes just to get a little bit more color. And then we'll remove these and we'll get our other batch in here, and then we'll bring everything together. After about 15 minutes or so, that's about what it's been. Looks like we got some nice color on here. Looks like we got it sealed okay. So we'll go ahead and remove this batch. Actually, it looks good. I want to eat it right now, but yeah, it's not done yet. We gotta get it nice and tender. These pieces right here are so flavorful. They're really, really good. That's a piece from the rib. All right, so we'll go ahead and get our ribs in there. I like to put these upside down because all the meat's on the back, you know, on the top part of the rib. Go ahead and add in our pig's feet. Go ahead and add in our hog maws, our buche. This right here is some really, really good. First time I had this as a kid, fell in love with it. My grandpa used to always eat that. All right, same thing with these. We're gonna just let them do their thing like we did our last batch. I mean, I'll kind of show you guys at the end of when it's done right here, and then we'll go on to the next process. I know it's a lot of information, but fairly easy. So all we're gonna do is we're just like we did with our pork shoulder and the pork leg. We're just gonna give it a good fry, get some color on it, and we'll go on to the next step. All right, out of this batch, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the ribs. They got some really good color on them. Now that we've freed up a little bit of real estate, I wanna get a little bit more color on the hog maws. The pig's feet, they're looking pretty good. I think I'll take these out too. All right, so for the hog maws, the buche, we want to get some more color on this. Usually, when I would buy these in Mexico, they're usually like really golden brown, like, you know, rubbery, but kind of crispy at the same time. So this one's kind of resembling what I'm used to seeing when I go out there. Still needs a little bit more color, so I'm gonna just let these go a little bit longer. Since I had those ribs in there, kind of took up a lot of space, so I didn't really get to get these, you know, submerged in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and give these a little bit more time. All right, now that we got the color that we're looking for, we're gonna go ahead and remove this. So now we're gonna be adding in our aromatics. Now, I want to put out a disclaimer right there. I'm using lard, I'm not using oil. I'm not using cooking oil. If you do this with cooking oil, this thing's gonna explode on you. You're gonna have a reaction from the water and the oil, and it's gonna pop on you, and it's not good. This is lard that I'm using. Just an FYI. I'm gonna keep saying that because I don't want nobody to get hurt. Now, we're gonna go ahead and add in our beer, slowly. Add in our Coca-Cola. This is a Coca-Cola from Mexico. Doesn't have that corn syrup that they use here in the States. It uses sugar cane. And squeeze in our orange. All right, we're gonna go ahead and throw in the pills in there also. We're gonna throw in our lime. Now we're shocking the temperature. It's gotta come back up to temp. But we're gonna be adding in enough liquid to where we can braise the meat. We're gonna add in our onion. Now we're gonna be adding in our crushed garlics. You wanna make sure they're crushed so that way the oils of the garlic can get into the mixture. Now we need water. Like I said, you need equal parts water and equal parts lard for this. So I ended up just filling up my little bucket. I'll just kind of like eye it. You know, we're probably gonna need all the water in this. The water ends up evaporating. You'll actually see it happen really quick. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add in everything back in here. Since the ribs took a lot of the real estate, we'll go ahead and leave that at the bottom. Go ahead and add in our chunks of carnitas. Add in our little bit of our buche back in there. Now that we got everything back in there, we're also gonna add in the drippings that we had in our pan when we were, you know, changing everything out. All right, so now that we have everything incorporated, you could turn up the heat just a little bit. I kind of keep this at medium. Now I'm gonna just let the oil and the water mixture, you know, all our aromatics, we're gonna let all that come back to temperature, and we're just gonna slow cook it. You wanna braise this pork. Like I said, I try to cook this on medium, about medium low. Once it comes to temperature, I'm gonna be changing it to medium low. But yeah, we're gonna let this pretty much slow cook. I wanna say about 45 minutes to about an hour. If you notice that you run out of moisture and it's just straight lard again, you can add more water to it. But usually by the time how much liquid we've added in there, that should be enough for this recipe. So we're gonna just let it keep doing its thing. And I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes to an hour. All right, it's been about an hour and 20 minutes. I just wanna check. You know what, all I've pretty much done is just rotate this stuff here. But you know what, these ribs are looking perfect. I can tell they're already pulled apart, tender. Some of the pieces that I'm touching right here, nice and soft. I'll be able to just shred this up no problem. The pieces got some really good color. So let's go ahead and start taking some of this stuff out and start chopping it for some tacos. Now I want to show you what these ribs look like. These things are falling out the bone. It just pulls right out. Look at that. Same thing with this one. And just pull apart tender. This is what you want right here. This is that style carnitas. And every time I go to Mexicali or Mexico, this is what I get. And then from there, I mean, they just take everything, mix it all together. and you just get just tender, pull apart pork. They're just chopping. I mean, what they do is they get like a big knife and chop, and that's pretty much what we're getting right here. I mean, this is really, really tender. I mean, the smell is wonderful. Gotta try this. I believe this is the leg meat. You can just smash that real easy. Just cut it. Now this doesn't have so much fat compared to like the shoulder, but you know, you mix it in there, comes out pretty good. Now here's a piece of that pork shoulder. Just shreds like nothing. Man, this right here is gonna be some good eats. Now what I'm actually interested in, I haven't had buche in a while. This right here is what I'm interested in. This right here, the first time I had this, I had it with my grandfather. We were at his sister-in-law's house, but this right here is some really, really good stuff. This is the color I was talking about. It's got like a, you know, a golden brown color to it, but you know, it's rubbery, but it's still really, really good. I haven't had that in a very, very long time. I want to probably say about 2001. Then we also have the pata, the foot, the pig's foot. With some salsa and limon. Be good stuff right here. And for the finale, taco with all of that meat in there. You know, a mixture of all of that meat with some cilantro and onion and salsa and lemon. Cheers, y'all. This right here is delicious. You get fruity, you get savory. I mean, it's like a mixture of like all kinds of components like put together. Really, really good stuff. You guys gotta give this a try. If you're new to my channel, consider hitting the subscribe button. That way you can see future videos just like this. As always, I'll leave the link in the video description and in the comment section, so that way you can go to my website, cookingwithkirby.com, to get the full printable recipe. What's up, everybody? I got my boy Drew back in the house. Look, the last time you guys seen him, we did that hot sauce challenge.
Never again.
Never, I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. So I owe it to him. I owe it to him. Look, we're about to hit 50,000 subscribers. I got a treat for you, bro. I got a treat.
I can't wait to taste it.
So, dig in. Let me know what you think of those tacos.
You big deal, bro. Talking with my mouth full. A1.